baseball as well. That's where we start. Good morning to DraftKings contributors Stan Sun and Nick Friar, and RotoWire's Erik Halterman, who went streaking at the Red Sox game last night. We are price checking, guys, players all over the diamond. Who is your pitcher at $8,000 or higher? Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, come on, I'm mid-laugh. I'm going to go with Shohei Ohtani at 8.1K against the Diamondbacks. And this is more about the Diamondbacks than it is Ohtani. Although Ohtani has only had one start this season in which he didn't get a strikeout or average a strikeout per inning. The Diamondbacks are the fifth worst in plate appearances per strikeout rate over the last 2 weeks against right-handed pitching. They also have terrible OPS. In general, they're just not hitting right-handed pitching well of late. So I'm going to go with Ohtani, who's had a couple double-digit strikeout performances this season in general at 8.1K. I think he's a steal.
Stan, what about you?
I'm going all the way up. I mean, there's a ton of stud pitchers on this slate. I'm going to go with Jacob deGrom, 11.3K versus San Diego. He is the best pitcher on the planet. FIP is 1.02, swinging strike rate 21.2%, 93 strikeouts in 58 innings while only allowing 3 home runs and 8 walks. I mean, in 9 starts, he's put up at least 22 DK fantasy points in every game, 2 of those over 40 and a high of 58.1. The floor ceiling combo is unmatched on this slate.
All right, Erik, try to contain yourself here, dude.
Impress you more than I did last night, apparently. Not sure where that came from, but we'll run with it. I'm also on the DeGrom train tonight. Just to offer another way of thinking about it, he's got 7.8 more points per game than any other pitcher on the slate, and that's a slate that includes tons of elite starters, which is one reason why I think he's a better play than usual, because you won't have to worry about the entire contest being on him because people will like Max Scherzer, they'll like Lucas Giolito, guys like that. That 7.8 points per game is as many as a guy like Ryan McMahon has averaged per year. So just by going with him over Scherzer, you're getting an extra pretty good hitter. Only 3 pitchers come within 20 DraftKings points per game on this slate. For reference, Lucas Giolito has 20.3 points per game. So if you pick DeGrom over a merely good starter, you're essentially getting an extra Lucas Giolito in your lineup. Nobody's even close to this guy. 45.4% strikeout rate this season. No other qualified starter is within 8 percentage points of that mark, and only 4 are within 10 percentage points. He's on an entirely another level. And if you can get effectively an extra player into your lineup just by going with him, and it's not like he reduces the cost of your other hitters by that much. If you have him instead of Ohtani, you're looking at about a $400 difference for your other hitters. So that's something you can work around. So I'm all about DeGrom tonight as well.
Stan, who are you all about when it comes to a hitter over 5K?
I love the Chicago White Sox stack. So I'm going to go Jose Abreu, 5.6K at Detroit. His slash against left-handed pitching, 234, 321, 596. At the ISO is a whopping 362. Screwball, he's allowed 22 home runs on the season, 21 of those to righties. And then once he's out of the game, the Detroit Pen has the highest FIP and the highest home runs per 9 in MLB.
Okay, what about you, Erik?
I'm going with Juan Soto, hitting the classics tonight. If you didn't know, Jacob deGrom and Juan Soto are good at baseball. That's what you pay me for. Soto is hitting just 279 this year, but his expected batting average 319, says he's been as good as ever. Similar story with his slugging. He's slugging 461, but that's well below his 592 expected slugging. So he's making, some of the best contact in the league, even if his numbers are a little bit down from his usual standards. To be fair, he did have an expected slugging of 696 last year, but his hard hit rate this season of 54.8% is a career high. So I don't think he's necessarily going to repeat last year's absurd numbers, but he's not as far off as he looks. He's still walking way more than he's striking out. He's also been on a tear over his last 9 games with 4 homers, 11 RBI, 10 runs scored, a 13-12 OPS. He'll get the platoon advantage against Anthony DeSclafani, who is pretty good, but with only a 21.4% strikeout rate, he'll give up his fair share of contact. I don't think he's at all good enough to scare me away from somebody like Soto tonight.
Nick, a hitter you're going to pay up for?
Yeah, I'm going to go back with a guy who I've used recently, probably a couple of weeks ago, Salvador Perez at 5.1K against Cole Irvin. And look, I mean, I know the idea of paying up for catcher isn't necessarily the ideal move, but Cole Irvin has not been good of late. I know he had a good outing against the Rockies, but in the previous 4 outings, he'd given up 4+ runs. I'm sorry, previous 3 outings, given up 4+ runs. And Salvador Perez is the best hitter against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks in terms of OPS. Period. End of discussion. So I'm not thinking twice about this one necessarily. I think the Royals in general are a team you want to kind of target or utilize going up against Irvin tonight. But Salvador Perez is the number 1 guy you got to go with.
Nick, how about a value bat?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kyle Tucker because Matt Shoemaker's another guy. You know, guys were talking about the stud pitching in this slate, but there's also some pretty bad pitching. Cole Irvin being one of them, Matt Shoemaker being another. Left-handed hitters have a 9.46 OPS against him this season, and Tucker is has an 8.90 OPS against against right-handed pitching. And after what the Astros did last night, I want to get a little more of that. I know Shoemaker got rocked last time, which obviously would help Tucker's case. But in general, over the last 4 starts, he's only given up 1 home run, and he had been giving up quite a few. So I feel like at some point he's got to be due, and Tucker could be one of those guys that gets a cheapie tonight.
All right, Eric.
Yeah, I'm actually continuing to copy these other 2 today, and I'm sticking with Kyle Tucker. I think he's been the best play in this tier for most slates that I've seen over the last couple of weeks. He's just not a $3,700 player. He's, I think, on True Talent, at least a $4,700 player. It's fair that his price would be below his talent because his actual numbers are below what I think he deserves, hitting 261, but that expected batting average of 323 is actually the 7th highest among qualified batters. So he's hitting like he should be one of the best contact hitters in the league and one of the best power hitters. He's slugging 482, but that expected slugging of 596. So really, StatCast absolutely loves the quality of contact he's making, and he's making more of it than ever. His strikeout rate is at a career low of 15.9%. So I think he's hitting like a star. Granted, he hits low in that Astros order often, but that Astros order is so deep. They're the best lineup in the league that it doesn't really matter. He's still going to have good bats around him. So I think I'd be happy paying up for him 45, even more than that. So big bargain.
Stan, who would you feel like paying up for?
You know, I do like Tucker a lot today, especially since the Astros, they're implied for 6.1 runs per game. I think that's the highest I've seen all year. I'm going to go a different direction, though. I think if you need straight salary, Trevor Larnach, I don't even know how to pronounce it, 2.1K. He could bat third in the lineup. But my guy today is Ryan Mountcastle, 3.3K. You know, he has at least 1 hit in 8 straight games and 4 home runs over that span. Against left-handed pitching, slashes 339, 354, 576, 237 ISO. He gets to face Ryan Yarbrough, you know, who is a lefty. He's allowed 9 home runs to righties, and the K per 9 is only 6.54.
Take us to the DK Sportsbook here, Stan, and what your favorite MLB bet is for tonight.
White Sox minus 1.5. It's plus 100 now. It was minus 104 last night. You know, I really like Lucas Giolito a lot. You know, Tigers first in strikeouts against right-handed pitching. I already went over the struggles that Schoolball has against righties, so I think the offense gets busy. Chicago, they crushed left-handed pitching. They're 5th in ISO against left-handed pitching.
Eric.
Yeah, I like the Angels over the Diamondbacks. They are favored. They're at, I think it's minus 143 now, but I think they should probably be more favored than that. They have a better lineup than the Diamondbacks. On the season, Angels are 10th by WRC+, Diamondbacks are 23rd. I recognize that Angels are without Mike Trout, but I don't think he single-handedly moves them up 13 spots. So I guess if anybody does, it would be him. They also have the advantage on the pitching side. Shohei Ohtani was talked about earlier. Somehow is an elite starter, despite the fact that he walks way too many guys. 14.8% walk rate somehow just doesn't matter because he's striking out 34.1% of opposing batters and has an above average ground ball rate too. On the other side, Merrill Kelly is probably better than his 5.12 ERA suggests. Most of the ERA estimators have him about a run or so below that, but he's not at all intimidating. He's got a slightly better than average walk rate, but only striking out 20.7% of opposing batters. There's nothing wrong with him. He gives them a chance to win enough of the time, but Ohtani is a frontline starter pitching in front of a better lineup. So I think pretty easy Angels for me.
Nick, bring us home.
I'm going to go with Royals scoring at least 4 runs tonight, set at 3.5 over on DK Sportsbook. And I know that there's going to be some movement on that price today, so make sure you get on that while it's still decent. It's at minus 130, so not ideal, but the Royals, they've been good to me so far of late. And then they have, the 7th best OPS against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. I know I talked about Salvador Perez a little bit, but in general, the Royals are hitting left-handed pitching well. And I talked about Cole Irvin. Aside from his last start against the Rockies, it was 5 runs to the Astros, 4 runs to the Mariners, 4 runs to the Angels. That's just him. That's not the bullpen behind him, too. So I have all the faith in the world that the Royals are going to score at least 4 runs tonight.